I get tired of watching 13-minute long videos to find out how somebody feels about a game or a topic, so I'm just gonna lead with the punchline and you can stay for the details. Absolum is a devilishly clever game with a level of charm and complexity to it that's most likely going to crash into my favorites of the year whenever it decides to release. That's the punchline, but you want to know more? Then I can do that too. Before we start, I have to say that there aren't many companies I trust in as much as I trust in Dotemu. They're handling the Streets of Rage, which is one of my favorite franchises of all time. Put them on my radar, and they've yet to miss from my view of things. TMNT Shredder's Revenge was incredible as well, and both of those games still get consistent play from myself and my friends. Even their revival of the uber difficult Windjammers was amazing. I just suck at it, like really bad, like really bad. The computer washed me so bad I had to step away from the game for a few minutes. I thought about uninstalling that mug, but I wanted to be supportive. It was thorough. Like, I think about that sometimes when I'm driving. BTA situation just built to add. The fact that Dotemu, someone correct the pronunciation, but I think it's Dotemu. The fact they continue to take on incredible nostalgic franchises and over-deliver on those type of games is a great thing. So hearing they were making Absolum, an original side-scrolling roguelike beat-em-up, it's a lot of modifiers, but it had me intrigued. Coming off the fun I had with Towerborn, which is a similar in scheme game on paper, but to be fair, that's more of a looter brawler, less of a roguelike. Either way, I knew I'd at the very least enjoy the game, but I was unsure as to what would keep me there after multiple runs. Roguelikes have a habit of being a fleeting desire for me, unless the gameplay loop is strong, or the story grabs me, or I feel there's a true sense of progression, or I just get hungry for Chipotle, or I look at my phone and I answer text messages. I'm good for that one. Or like Kendrick Lamar opens his mouth, they hand him a Grammy, much to the dismay of that one Canadian rapper that was taunting him to drop, and then acting like he was a victim the whole time. What are we talking about? I'll eventually remember that I'm losing things every time I die when playing a roguelike, and that adds up for me over time. My uncertainty about Absolum was in no way strong enough to taper off my enthusiasm to try this demo though. Combine that with the fact that I probably trust Dotemu with my soul and my taxes based on how they've over-delivered in the past, and you can see why I downloaded this game the first chance I got. And I haven't regretted any of the hours I spent playing this yet, and I do mean hours. The first thing that grabbed me was the art style. All of this was supposedly hand-drawn, which is amazing to see in motion when the characters and the backdrops begin to come alive. The game also uses that against you in a sense, by making it easier to drop in secrets, alternate paths, stuff like that. So basically, if your eyes aren't sharp enough to notice the details, you can easily play through areas multiple times and miss alternate paths, hidden alcoves, and much more. In that sense, it reminds me a bit of Full Metal Furies, and how the stages themselves hide multiple secrets, and sometimes the game won't even tell you that you missed something cool. Or to keep it topical, it's kind of how like Kendrick told Drake everything he was gonna do in Euphoria, then spent the next year illustrating it out like a Corey Kenshin manga. Yeah, monsters we make indeed. And speaking of gameplay, that feels right as well. I don't ever have to worry about Dotemu airballing on the combat and the feel of their games. But it feels even more satisfying here when you dive into the combat system. Of course, it's basic light and heavy attacks. There's arcana attacks, which are basically magic specials. Supers, aerial attacks, modified attacks your characters can receive each run that changes how those previous attacks work. And for defense, there's a dash you can use in any direction at almost any time mid-combo. So there's no Souls-like commitments to attacks here. As long as you're not spamming them, then you're good. And you can easily take everything I said at face value and have a great time here. But imagine my surprise when I dodged down to avoid an attack and found that my character had a Fatal Fury-like lane-weaving counterattack. Oh wait, can you dodge and attack? Like, that was a Fatal Fury move where you dodge planes and come back? Oh my goodness, I didn't do that with the other girl. I did not do that with the other girl. And the moment I discovered that, I went to another character to try it, and turns out every character has that. And that made me realize there's much more here to figure out. For instance, let's say you show some courage and use that dodge I said earlier at your enemy when they're attacking. That rewards you with a satisfying clash or a parry that can break guards. That didn't click for me until I fought a boss and realized I couldn't attack him and dodge away in time. So instead, I started to watch for the white flashes of light to clash to maintain my pressure, only getting out of the way when the enemy flashed red. For the record, red is normally bad in video games. Red barrels explode, red flashing lights are unblockable, red political parties threaten your life depending on how much of a minority you are. Video game 101. Then, while reacting to the boss's missed attacks, I saw that you could punish those with correct timing for big damage. That made me more aggressive to get as much damage in as possible, and coincidentally, that led to yet another discovery. By staying on the offense, I found that you can apply overpressure to enemies, which makes them vulnerable to what's essentially a critical hit. You right. Yeah, take that. Hope you like combos with your combos. A lot happened right there, but for the fighting game heads that's watching and keeping count, that is a parry system, a whiff punish system, and essentially a retool guard break system, all neatly packaged within this game. Most beat 'em ups don't have layers this defined. Even my Streets of Rage series, it can boil down to how many times you press forward punch to get a blitz attack off. The combat here is much more layered for those willing to dive into it, and each character has a fighting style that differs radically. Carl, he's a brawler with a blunderbuss, you know, like the old school shotties. Yeah. He's throwing hands with the best of them, so he's strong, but he's a more grounded character. Cider, yeah, like apple cider. She's the first true unlockable character, and she seems to thrive in the air. And she has a grappling hook she can use to extend combos, like Spencer from Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Galandra is a balance between the two characters. She's the most versatile that can do a bit of both, but with an oversized sword that can clear multiple enemies with ease. They all benefit from those universal systems established by the game to make their combo routes that much more satisfying. The story of the game is also interesting enough to hold for multiple runs. There's a basic plot line of wizards are outlawed, but we're not going down without a fight. But the individual character stories are far more interesting to me, especially when Cider's introduced. All of that ties into the dialogue and the interesting side missions you stumble across each run. The soundtrack is also a thing to know. There were multiple points where I just stopped to listen to the music and how it went from fitting the mood to a hard rock boss theme that just kicked in out of nowhere just because. But it all worked. It's kind of like how every single Kendrick Lamar diss to Drake worked to discredit and undermine the person and the persona that Drake was building himself up. Yeah, I ain't trying. You know what? Don't even worry about it. We'll go back to video games. Don't even worry about it. Devilishly clever was the phrase I used earlier, and that stands out in almost every aspect here. The combat has unexpected layers to it that feel amazing to figure out. The gameplay loop is strong thanks to the layers and the feel of the game, which is highlighted by the environments, the dialogue, and the soundtrack. There's so much more thought that's put into this game that it's odd that they decided to make it a two-player situation. I wish it was more than just 2 fighters allowed per run, but it's a minor gripe. The biggest gripe I can muster so far is that the throwables button is the same as the interact button, so a lot of times I end up throwing my items away to interact with someone or open the chest. Ooh, right off the edge. Whee! No! It's gone. It's gone. Only issue out the gate is having the throwable and the interact button on the same thing. Only issue. Now, that's annoying, yeah, but it's not a game-breaking situation considering how almost everything else feels perfect, even in demo form. So here's hoping they fix that. So, here's the recap. Absolum is shaping up to be one of my favorite games to drop this year, with a simple but devilishly clever approach to almost everything presented. There's enough diversity with the characters to warrant multiple, just one more runs. And the fun factor is sky high thanks to the thoughtfulness in the combat skills and the strong gameplay loop. This is a great game so far, and I'm excited for the official release to see what else is there. All jokes aside, support this one, guys. And all jokes aside, I want to know you guys' comments as well. If you made it to the end of the video, then obviously you enjoyed it to a degree. Liking the video helps the algorithm, commenting lets me know that I'm not crazy, and subscribing helps me in the long run as we get to the goal of getting to these 1,000 subs. So, if you enjoyed the video, by all means, liking, commenting, subscribing, all of that good stuff. It's appreciated. Share this with friends, and let me know if there's another game that you want to see me talk about.